Decisions. Those are the awful reoccurrences that everyone tries to avoid, sometimes at all costs. Decisions can be big or little, but they all tend to be very stressful at times. These decision-making skills have made it a little less stressful for me, and I have had to learn along the way and observe others. First, I will quickly inform you about decision-making skills, followed by weighing out pros and cons and how to do that. Last, I will present you with a brief analysis on gut instincts. So now, let's begin with my first point, which is how to make decisions in decision-making skills. To begin, let's go over the basic process and how to do so. Things to consider are the purpose, information, brainstorm the choices you have, evaluate the consequences, alternative routes that you can take, transform your decisions into a plan of action so you can execute it correctly, and lastly, evaluate possible outcomes. Now that we know the correct skills for decision making and the mindset you should have while making decisions, we can begin to weigh out the pros and cons. Studying for a test is something that I'm using for an example today, and not studying for a test, so it's studying versus not studying. Here's a chart labeled with pros and cons on each side. You analyze the skills to create the bullet list I have made. For the pros of studying for the test, I have you are well prepared, you don't have to cram to get it all finished, you can raise your final grade possibly, you become more organized when you study, you usually retain more information when you study good, and the answers during taking the test are more clear and it takes you less time to take the test. The cons could be you might not do as well on the test. It can affect your final grade possibly if you do really poorly. Stay up longer, and that means you get less sleep. You feel more stressed, and that could lead to anxiety while taking your test. Losing info after the test, because if you cram, then you just lose it right after the test. And feeling disappointed or like you failed yourself or someone else. Once you have these, you can finish by having a backup plan. And my backup plan for this is to wake up early, study a little, and the following night study a little so that it's really fresh in my mind. So this can be just something both that they can both agree on in the pros and the cons, which is my backup plan. So you go over the sheet and make the final decisions. Enjoy the results and sit back and watch. Even though decision making can be really stressful, but you have to do it, you can't forget about your intuition. Gut feelings are often led to the right decision. So even though you might get a gut feeling and be like, oh, it's nothing, sometimes it really does mean something in the end. They're often signals of what's right versus what's wrong. So they could be telling you all along, so you might not even have to make a sheet like this. In conclusion, even though it's impossible to avoid decisions, everyone does it. And we learned today how decision-making skills can help you to get into the right mindset to make a decision, how to make a pros and cons sheet, and a backup plan that can help you and really set your goals on this. And we learned about gut instincts and how they might be telling you something all along and you need to pay attention to them. In conclusion, everyone makes decisions on the daily, but you can often make it less stressful and just follow your heart and your gut.